What's up, everybody? It's that time again. We're diving into a list that's bound to make you lock your doors and double-check your map. Today, we're talking about the most violent small towns in America. Now, we all know big cities get a bad rap when it comes to crime, but statistically speaking, you might actually be safer wandering around a major metro area than getting comfy in some of these small towns. Yep, that's right. While some small towns are all charm and quiet streets, others? Well, they're giving new meaning to the phrase rough around the edges. This list is based on the FBI's 2018 crime data report, and we're focusing on towns with populations between 1,000 and 20,000. Because let's be real, if a town only has 100 people, one nasty bar fight can make it statistically look like the Purge. For reference, the FBI defines violent crime as crimes like aggravated assault, robbery, non-negligent manslaughter, and, the unauthorized use of someone else's body. We'll call it that for the sake of keeping this monetized. No jokes here, just algorithm survival. Anyway, let's get into it. Kicking things off, we've got Henderson, North Carolina. This little town has been around since 1785 and is steeped in history. But these days, it's steeped in something a little less charming: violent crime. With nearly 15 violent crimes per 1,000 residents in 2018, Henderson is one of the worst spots in North Carolina. That year alone, they racked up 192 violent crimes, enough to make you rethink stopping by. And if that wasn't bad enough, they also had 93 property crimes per 1,000 residents. So yeah, not exactly the kind of place where you leave your doors unlocked. The town has about 15,000 residents, and a whopping 28% of them live in poverty, which is often a big contributor to crime rates. Oh, and fun fact, a local legend told me there's an elderly woman who used to throw rocks at cars from the woods by the highway. Now that she's older, she's moved her operation to her front porch. Gotta love that small town charm, right? Next up, we've got Columbus, New Mexico. Sitting right on the border with Mexico, this town of about 2,000 residents is small but mighty, in all the wrong ways. In recent years, Columbus has become a hub for organized crime, with an estimated 15% of its population involved in illegal activities. And we're not talking about jaywalking. Drug smuggling is the name of the game here. And the town's police force? Let's just say disarray is putting it kindly. In 2018, Columbus had 18 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. Oh, and here's a wild story for you. The town's mayor, police chief, and a village trustee were indicted for trafficking firearms to Mexico. So yeah, maybe skip this one on your next road trip. Dillingham, Alaska, a town where the fish might be plentiful, but so are the violent crimes. This tiny town of just over 2,000 residents had 38 violent crimes in 2018. Giving it a rate of 19 per 1,000 people. Fun fact, Dillingham started as a weather station back in 1881, and by 1903, it had become a major hub for salmon canning. Unfortunately, these days, it's more of a hub for bail bondsmen and apparently moose tramplings. Yes, moose tramplings are a real concern in Alaska, as if worrying about your neighbors wasn't enough. Lumberton. This North Carolina town was founded in 1787. And looks like it belongs in a postcard. Clean streets, cute homes. You'd never guess it's a hotbed for violent crime with 22 violent crimes per 1,000 residents. Lumberton's crime rate is 51% higher than the national average. The town also struggles with poverty, with 35% of its population living below the poverty line. And here's where it gets even darker. In 2017, 3 young women were murdered in the same area within a few months of each other. No arrests were made, and the cases remain unsolved. So, while it might look nice, Lumberton's issues run deep. Doniphan, Missouri, population 2,000, is smack dab in the middle of nowhere. It's about equidistant from St. Louis and Memphis, meaning your nearest big city options are not great. The town's crime stats are even worse. With 26 violent crimes per 1,000 residents, Doniphan is the kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and apparently they're not getting along. In one particularly wild incident, a group of 6 middle-aged men assaulted another guy who had allegedly wronged one of their friends. High school level drama, but with tragic consequences. The victim didn't survive. Donovan might not be losing or gaining people, but it's definitely losing the fight against violent crime. Aola, Arkansas sits just up the Mississippi River from Memphis, and if you know anything about Memphis, that's probably all you need to hear. With 26.5 violent crimes per 1,000 residents, Osceola is like Memphis's less populated, equally dangerous cousin. In recent years, local police have had their fair share of scandals, including officers involved in shootings under questionable circumstances. If you're thinking of visiting, maybe just don't. A town of about 10,000 people, Espanola has earned its spot on this list with 30 violent crimes per 1,000 residents in 2018. This northern New Mexico town has been a staple on most dangerous towns lists for years, and with good reason. Lock your doors, folks. This place doesn't play around. Estill, South Carolina, is the kind of town that feels like stepping back in time, but not in a charming way. With crumbling buildings and a violent crime rate of 34 per 1,000 residents, Estill is a town that's been left behind. Locals describe it as a mix of the 1940s and 2020s, with old buildings and modern cars coexisting in a way that's more eerie than endearing. Ah, Aniston. This Alabama town is an all-star when it comes to appearing on worst places lists. With 37 violent crimes per 1,000 residents, Aniston is a place where bad news is just part of the daily routine. If you're researching bad towns, Aniston's name is gonna come up. They're consistent, if nothing else. Finally, we've got Kotzebue, Alaska. With just under 3,000 residents, this remote town is somehow managing to rack up 40 violent crimes per 1,000 people. It's a damp community, meaning alcohol is technically allowed but heavily regulated. Yet, even with the restrictions, Kotzebue's crime rate is off the charts. Unless you're really into remote fishing or spirit houses, there's no reason to visit, and even less reason to stay. So there you have it, the top 10 most violent small towns in America for 2019. Hopefully, you found this list informative, if not slightly terrifying. It's a sobering reminder that crime can thrive even in the most unexpected places, proving that small town charm doesn't always mean small town safety. Still, knowing what's out there is the first step to staying prepared and vigilant. As always, links are below. Hit that subscribe button and maybe buy a t-shirt to support the channel. Stay safe out there, and as always, be nice to each other.